By show of hands, how many of you make less than you think you are worth? Why is that? It's time to put your foot down and say enough. Luckily, you are here at the right time and the right place. The most wonderful real estate podcast ever is the answer that you seek. I'm Dwanderful. I have over 30 years of real estate investing under my belt. I have closed over $500 million, $500 million in deals, and I have a heart for you to walk my path with me. Your life is about to change. It's time to thrive in 25. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I am your host, Dwan Benton Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. And I'm going to share some really great news with you. We just reached 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads. And that is thanks to all of you. I cannot tell you how excited I was when I got the notification from Buzzsprout and the little official 1 million downloads. So thank you and keep listening and keep coming back. If you're new to me, my motto at it's Dwanderful. So my first name is Dwan. I took wonderful. I made a new word. So this is the Dwanderful universe. And our motto is people before profits. So I have a great guest today. And let me tell you something. His name is Dr. Alan Lomax. We have had a time getting on here today. So Dr. Alan, welcome to my show.
Well, delighted to be here, Dwan, and congratulations on
I know.
1 million downloads.
1 million. I was like, I don't even keep track of anything. And I got a little notification from a bus driver with all these balloons and this thing. And I was like, oh, 1 million. So immediately I Google, like, is 1 million downloads, high or good? Because, I don't really know. And it's like, oh, you're in like the top, like 5%, like worldwide. And I'm like, oh, no. So then I was just like, this is the coolest thing. This is the coolest thing. So how are you today? And thank you for all of that. I'm telling you, folks, we've been trying for like 3 times to get in this room together.
It was quite the time. I'm doing well, Dwan, and I'm glad to be with you today.
I am too. I'm glad you're here. So we are just very conversational. We like to have fun. This podcast would be like if you and I were sitting at a table having lunch and we never met before. We would just be talking about and getting to know each other. So I'm a big fan of the casual. So I like to just kind of throw my guest into the wolves a little bit and just have you tell us just who you are and what you do, just like in 2 sentences. And then I'm going to ask you a bunch of fun questions to find out how you became to be my super cool guy. You're my wicked smart guy on my podcast today.
Well, thank you for that. And well, I am Dr. Alan Lomax. I have been investing for way too many years, over 3 decades, and I have been in higher education as a professor and an administrator, working in organizational change and working with individuals that whole entire time to develop themselves as people and persons and to find their passion to go for it. So that's
okay,
me.
Nice. So doctor of what?
Doctor of Organizational System Psychology.
Oh, I know. I love psychology. That I told my husband when I was now I graduated high school in 1977. And I lived in Ohio in a very small town. And women were encouraged to work at the factory, get married, and have kids. There was no like, you should go to college. And I always thought if I ever went to college, I would totally be into like psychology or psychiatry and be like a forensic psychologist and working with serial killers and trying to figure out people. So I love what you do because that's one of the things that I wish I would have done it, but now I'm like, nah, I'm so far into real estate. I love what I'm doing now, so I'm done. So let's talk about, first of all, how does everyone find you on social media?
I'm on LinkedIn. It's probably the best place to do that, just at Alan Lomax. And Alan is Allen,
Uh-huh.
and just Alan Lomax. And you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at our website at steedtalker.com. That's Steed, as in the horse, and Talker, like I'm doing now. That's one word, steedtalker.com.
So I was thinking when I saw your email, I thought Steed Talker. What does that mean? Because I hear the word steed, I think of a horse. Is that right?
That
Aren't they called
that's
steeds?
that's a horse, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I like. So how did we come up with Steed Talker?
Well, that's a very good question. So I'll tell you a story.
Okay, I love.
Um, you like stories? Okay, I like
I love
stories too.
stories.
Well, there was this horse that came into my life,
Mhm.
and he was about a 10-year-old horse, and he was a traumatized horse, to
Okay.
say the least. And we were having significant issues with him. You just began to approach him with a bridle, and he became hysterical. He just yanked his head up, he reared up and kicked up, became a really dangerous horse. And so I just approached him and entered into a present moment quiet meditation. And I just stood with him for 20, 25 minutes in just this silent meditation. And during that time, of course, that peacefulness is contagious.
I
And
did.
so he began to drop his head uh, and relax throughout his whole entire body. And with him in that relaxed position, I just slipped the bridle right on him. By the way, I don't use bits, it's a bitless bridle. And he just accepted that. I mean, there was no training, no coercion. And, uh, and he just accepted that, became a totally different horse. And over the course of time that I have been with him, he's gone from being what was really a very dangerous horse to being one of the most congenial and most willing horses that I've ever had in my life. So uh, that's just one experience. I've had many other experiences with horses, with dogs and cats
Hmm.
as well. But incidentally, his name was Doc, the which is a healer, the shaman, um, the the healer, and that's what he has been uh, to me as well. I mean,
Oh yeah.
as he's healed himself from the trauma that he had experienced, he's also been a healing agent to me.
Wow, I love that story. That's like, I don't think a lot of people realize that animals 100% pick up your energy. And so, I don't know if you've ever watched Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer.
I have not. I've heard of him, but I haven't
So
watched
his
him.
whole thing is because I've owned my husband and I are currently dogless, but since we've been married the last 23 years, we've probably had 8 dogs. And after I read his thing is like if you're going to go into like a kennel of puppies, you just sit there and you see which one comes to you because one will be attracted to your energy and the others will want nothing to do with you. And I was like, oh, so you don't just go, I'll take that one. And we started doing that like with my last, and I've had like 4, but we get the big Newfoundlands. So they only live like 10 years. But my last 4 dogs, I just sat in the kennel. And at one kennel we went to, the dogs all smelled me and they all walked away. Not a single dog wanted anything to do with me. And
Mm.
I was like, okay, I'm not offended. We're going to go someplace else. I don't have the energy for whatever. And then we went to the next place to get a newfie. And there was like 12, 18 puppies in that room. All climb. Then they all just walk away. And then one comes over and just lays on me and puts his head on me and fell asleep.
Um,
I was like, oh, this is my dog.
Yeah.
So unfortunately he passed already. His name was Bo. But that I'm
Oh,
telling you, that was like my soulmate dog. And it's like with the horse, you were just so
yeah.
calm and you got the horse calm. And the next thing you know, you're healing each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a two-way street. Always is.
Yeah. I'm a really big believer. I know people all the time like, oh, I'm gonna just go get a dog from the kennel. It's like, just please, just even just sit, make sure the dog even likes you. And, people are like, these uncontrollable animals. It's like, but you weren't the person, you weren't the energy, you weren't what the dog needed. So it's got to be two-way street. So I love that story. I love that story. And so now let's talk about, so you help people become the best they can be.
That's what I strive to do. Yes.
And how,
While I'm working on myself, I'm not there yet. I
yeah,
haven't
none of us are
transcended.
there.
Yeah.
I'll never be. I don't know. We're always moving and changing. So someone comes to you, and what kind of a person would come to you and say, "Hey, I need help with." Are you like counseling a person? Are you working with people in real estate? Are you just in general helping people be better versions? And how would a person, or what kind of person would come to you?
Well, that's a wonderful question, uh, and certainly, I mean, what I do in my profession these days is I strive to empower professionals and entrepreneurs
Good.
to uh, to engage passionately in the work of their calling while at the same time developing their financial wealth. And so the kind of person who would come to me is a person who is passionate about what they're doing. And at the same time, they want avenues to continue to develop their financial wealth so that they can utilize that financial wealth in the best way possible to what I call to to bring positive impact to the world. In fact, impact is an acronym for my core values, which is integrity, meaning, uh, productivity. I'm forgetting what all of these are here. Imagine integrity, meaning, uh, prosperity. I'm sorry, and altruism, consciousness, and transformation. And so the people that come to me are looking way beyond their wealth development
Mm-hmm.
to looking to see how they can live their best life and how financial well-being can further enhance their impact on this world.
Don't you find that many, 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 many people are completely and totally financially illiterate? I trust you are loving the podcast. Hey, do you truly want to become a kick butt real estate investor? Spend a minute to take the real estate investing quiz that I prepared, and let's see where you stand in your journey. The link is in the show notes or at dwanderful.com. Okay, back to the show.
Unfortunately, that is the case, and it's not just people who are on the uh, lower rim of financial well-being. It's very well-off people
Yeah.
who are making huge incomes and they're spending all of it and not enhancing their wealth. And even those who are saving and investing, 95% of them are going to have all of their capital assets in stocks and bonds. And I mean, they've been taught that the secure and safe way to go. But there's two problems with that. First of all, that's not the way to find the highest returns on your investment.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, the stock market is in continual volatility, and it's it's okay, I guess, for some of your assets, but when that's the only place you have your assets, you're setting yourself up for a lot of turmoil and disappointment, and you're shorting yourself on the returns. Um, and like I said, I mean, 95% of people who have capital to invest are putting their money in those public markets. Well, that barrier to cross over to private equities and to other alternative investments in real estate and what have you, well, there's a big barrier there. First of all, you have to know about the fact that there's other alternatives there, which your financial advisor, by and large, is not going to tell you that because most financial advisors are just salesmen and they want you in stocks and bonds
True. They
because
don't know.
they don't know.
They
They don't want
don't.
to know. And they don't want to know because their money is coming from those commissions from those stock sales. And then, even if you know that there's other alternatives there, then there is it's, you don't have to know a lot, but there are things you have to know if you're going to put your money in these alternative investments. And that information is just not readily, I mean, it's out there. It's, if you know where to look for it and find it, it's out there. And then the other thing is that even once you have all of this information, finding the opportunities, these private opportunities, is another hurdle that you have to overcome. So there's the educational, there's just the knowing about it, and then there's finding those private placements. So there's really three barriers to crossing over that. Um, the wealthy are doing it, though. I mean, the that's where most of the people who have money are putting their money in private opportunities. Tiger 21 is an organization of, it's a peer organization of high net worth individuals. I don't know what the floor is on that. I think you have to have 5 million in assets to be in this particular network. But they publish where their members are investing, and they have 65% or more in alternative private placements, and
Wow.
only about 18% in public markets. So if you want to be wealthy, you want to develop your wealth, you know, study what the wealthy are doing.
Exactly.
You know.
So, what would you tell people to do if you meet someone like, hey, I want to start investing? Do you help people place money or do you help steer them to the things that you believe will work for them? And can you give anything specific?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to come on your show and just have a sales pitch here, but yes, since you asked, yes, we have a coaching program, and the
Okay.
coaching program goes beyond that because we it's a lifetime coaching program, and we also have a wide network of over 700 uh, operators who provide private placements. So we have the coaching, the education, and we have the private placement opportunities there. So yeah, they can come to us. I mean, we're certainly not the only resources out there, but we do provide that.
Well, no, it's not a sales pitch because, I have been real estate investing for almost 35 years. I've been teaching for 30 years. I teach people all the time. But I learned from the seat of my pants. Like when I started, I was going through a divorce. My daughter was 8 months old. And I was like, ugh, do I get a job? What do I do? How do I work from home? And I met some people like, oh, yeah, we're investors. You buy houses, you pick them up, you sell them. I'm like, oh, how hard could that be? totally not as easy as it sounded. But I did it. And then not long after, I was like, gosh, I could teach other people how to do this because I was dealing specifically, excuse me, in the foreclosure market. And I was seeing that there's thousands of people in foreclosure. And I was started off in Palm Beach County, Florida. And there's thousands of people in foreclosure and there's like 10 investors. So I was always like, hey, listen, if I do 100 and you do 100 and you do 100 and you do 100, we can help all the people. And I tell people all the time to this day, like, listen, don't try to figure it out for yourself. My learning curve was long. I mean, I learned how to rehab houses with no skills. I went to Home Depot. I took classes. I learned how to lay tile and put in kitchens and put in toilets. And I probably didn't really know what I was doing with all the various aspects of real estate for 7 or 8 or 9 years. Whereas that had been a person at that time, which there wasn't in the 90s, that could say, hey, let me teach you this and I'll cut off all these years of learning curve. I would have done it in a heartbeat. So I always tell people, if you can find someone that can help you with what you're looking for, you need to cut your learning curve because you learn from mentors or mistakes. And in the long run, mentors are cheaper. No matter what they charge, they're still cheaper. And one big giant mistake in real estate, especially, and you can be out of business and lose all your money you put into it, and you're done. Are you enjoying this episode? Make sure you don't miss a single solitary episode. Click subscribe, like, follow, all the things so you'll get notifications whenever time a new show comes out. And let your friends know about it too. It's amazing. All right, so if you want to learn more about real estate investing, just reach out to Dwanderful.com. I'll send you some free stuff. Back to the show.
I couldn't agree more. The most expensive school is that school of hard knocks, and actually learning that that's the most expensive school is one of the most expensive lessons I think most of us learn, because I had to go through the same path that you did. I started in single family and did rehabs and fix for rentals and did some fix and flip and well, I learned a lot. And you know what I finally learned after many years of doing this is that an experienced craftsman is going to do the job 100 times better than I will ever do as an amateur.
Yep. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, I started off rehabbing. So I would actually live in this rehab with my daughter because I was like, I'm not putting her in daycare. I'm raising that kid by myself. I want to be, the Kool-Aid mom, the Girl Scout mom. So I just lived in them with Ayla and I sell it, move into another one. And I did that till she started school. People were like, oh my gosh, you just moved from house to house. I was like, well, yeah, I couldn't rehab over here and pay rent over here. Like I was a broke single mom. I was fired from Denny's. Think about that. Denny's on third shift. And it took me, and obviously I got the hang of it and then I could like hire someone to help me and I could do 2 houses at once. But all of it, I didn't even know about like doing your bookkeeping and doing your taxes. I didn't understand paperwork and contracts. And oh my God, I look back and I made so many mistakes that luckily, like God is watching over me and kept me going on my path, but I made mistakes that would have put people out of business. It's like, so now I'm such an advocate and I tell everyone, especially if I have a guest like you, I'm like, listen, if you want to learn how to do that, I can teach you about real estate. If you want to learn the money and the investing and what to do and how to be your best entrepreneur, I'm not your girl for that. You need to go to somebody else. So I like to interview people that don't do exactly what I do because I can teach them what I do. I can't teach them what you do.
Well, I went through the same experiences of renovating houses that I was living in. I mean, dust everywhere.
It's a mess, isn't it?
It's a horrible mess. But yeah, I did it.
Oh, I learned
And
after the second house, I thought, because Ayla was a baby. And I thought, okay, when I get the house, I'm gonna go in the master bed and bath and completely fix it. So I have one room that's completely clean and dust free, and I can like light candles at night. And he was gonna sleep in the room with me. So I would redo the entire master, everything, carpet, everything. People are like, well, you're putting carpet here, but not there. I'm like, listen, I don't care. I need one room where I can have peace of mind and like lay in bed, and read with my daughter and watch TV. So I do the one room, and you open that room, and the whole rest of the house is a tornado,
Yes,
like a tornado. And I'd put like
I know.
a towel under my door at night so dust
Mm,
wouldn't like suck into my one room of solace.
yeah, I know.
Ah, and I did that for 5 years, and people like that's this. I'm like, hey, I didn't know any other way. I met some people that taught me one thing, and that was rehabbing. And I thought, "Great, how hard can rehabbing be?" Which it turns out is quite hard. And I had to go to Home Depot, take classes, and learn. And then later, I was like, man, I don't want to see anybody ever have to go through all that I did. And I was like, then I discovered like wholesaling, and then you learn about subject to, then you learn about being a landlord, and like you learn all these things. I was like, yeah, I could help people and teach people and cut that learning curve. I'm telling you, that learning curve, I think a lot of people would have tapped out. But I was just determined not to get a job because I thought, if I get a job now, I'm already 30. I'll keep it till I'm 50, and then I'll have the safety, and then my daughter will grow up and move out. And then, like, so if I just take this chance and it fails, I can still get a job. If I get a job, I'll stay for the
Mhm.
security for my daughter. So I was like, I'm taking a chance. And I'm glad I did. But my family was like, are you crazy? You need to get a job. You need to get a man. You need a real job. You need insurance. And I was like, so I had no support.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's okay because I made it. And then they all came to me, hey, help me with my house. How do I put things in land trust? Help me protect my house. I'm like, oh, now you guys want to talk to me. And of course, I helped everybody. So,
Yeah.
so when people come into your system, what are they doing? I know you're giving them assignments or teaching them. What kind of give us like an overview, like what's happening when someone comes to you?
Well, first of all, we start off with helping them to get a really firm grip and a clear picture of what their core values are,
Okay.
and then a clear understanding of how those core values are supporting their highest vision. And so that's the first step. And then after that, we go through the whole process of how it is that you actually can, while engaged in the work of your calling, you can passively invest in alternative investments. And so we just go through that whole process step by step from start to finish, so that uh, within 6 sessions, we take them from having no information to having a complete understanding in terms of how syndications work, how they're put together, who's operating the syndications, what are the different players within the syndication team. We go through the process that syndicators go through, the operators who are putting these deals together, what they
Mm-hmm.
go through in terms of procurement, in terms of underwriting, in terms of due diligence, in terms of putting their management teams in place, and how they pull all of that together to bring value to the properties so that they can turn those properties around and yield very, very good returns for our investors. And and once they've gone through that process, then they're ready to take their hard-earned money and put it into high yield investments.
Do you have
So
people get into syndications? Are those syndications real estate based?
they a syndication can be real estate based or it could be business based.
Mm-hmm.
So it is it's generally formed around there's an LLC, and the LLC is put together, and then once they're then they go out, and this is what I do is I bring in the passive investors, the equity partners who
Mm-hmm.
put their money into the project so that the operators can do all of the work, all of the acquisitions, the due diligence, the management, put the management teams in place, put the construction crews in place, put the maintenance crews in place, put all of that in place so that the passive investors can engage in the work of their calling, whatever their passions are, whether they're physicians, whether they're architects, engineers, psychologists, psychiatrists, people who have spent years getting into their professions
Mm-hmm.
and who are passionate about making a difference through their professions need a place to grow their wealth that isn't taking all of their time, effort, and energy like you and I went through when we
Yeah, no.
started investing in real estate.
I know. I mean, it's like a doctor, they're not going to go knocking on doors and rehab. They're like, hey, here's some money. What is the minimum for people to be in one of your syndications?
Uh, Most of the opportunities are 50,000
Okay.
minimum.
And do they have to be credited?
Most often, there are occasionally opportunities for what they call sophisticated investors, uh,
Yes.
but most often they are for accredited investors.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. You know, it's funny. I started my podcast, I don't know, like 5, 6 years ago, and I've been in real estate for decades. And when I started the podcast, I met a few people that did syndication. And the first time I heard about it, I remember thinking, like, how do I not know what this is? Like I've done 2,000 real estate deals. How do I not know what this is? So some of the guests like you educated me on syndications. It was like, I didn't even know that that was a space that existed.
Mm.
And I think that's a good place for people that, like you said, they're doing their thing, but they've got money and they need to put it someplace so it makes money. And there are like so many millions of like boomers that are just sitting on gobs of money. They have no idea what to do with it. So they just, throw it in the stock market or their 401k, or whatever they have. It's like syndications are a really good way for people to get a great return and just not have to do anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
And
where are you? So I don't know how old are you? I'm gonna ask you how old you are.
I'm 74.
74.
Yeah.
Looking very fine, my man. I
Well,
turned
thank you.
66 this year.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and like our
Yep.
generation of boomers,
Uh,
there are so many already retired, and they're just sitting on just so much money, and it's like in like some weird CD getting 3% interest, and they're terrified of like Bitcoin, and they don't maybe they do the stock market, and it's like I'd invest that money in something, like invest it into something. Don't just sit on all that money. Just sit on it, it just loses value every day.
Absolutely.
So.
And that's another thing that I mean, there's just a lot of fear because people are used to getting 3, 4, 6% on their stocks and bonds and their CDs and they think that those are fantastic returns. Well, when you start talking to them about doubling or even tripling that, they go, "Oh my gosh, that must be some kind of a Ponzi scheme, some
It's got to
far
be a
out scheme.
scheme. It's got to be a
It's got to be a
scam. That's not
scheme."
possible.
And yet it's lawful, it's legal, it's ethical.
Yeah.
If it weren't, I wouldn't be involved in it. And the wealthy have been doing it for generations and
Forever.
generations.
Forever. Yeah. That's why I always tell people, listen, if you come on my podcast and listen to all the people and listen to me, you will learn what wealthy people know that a regular average, like I'm a manager of a grocery store person, not that they just wouldn't be exposed. It's not even that they don't know. It's the lack of exposure. Like when I was growing up, it was pushed upon me very hard. Marry my boyfriend, go work at the factory, have babies, work 40 years for the man, and then
Mhm.
retire. And that was pushed. And so at my first job out of high school, I worked in a factory. And I remember I wasn't even there 2 days. Now I'm 18. I've never been in an actual factory. I'm like, so hot. There's no air
Mm,
conditioning. Everything is dirty. I'm like, oh my God, I'm filthy dirty every day. Just like, and I remember going to my dad one day and I was crying. I was like, why would you want this for me? This is the worst thing that's ever happened. And I did, screening, like, the t-shirts with the logos, a silk screening, which
mm,
is messy. And she's like, well, you got to get a good job. You got to work, man. You put in time, then you can retire early, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but why would you want that? Like, why would anybody want that for their child, like on purpose? So I was like,
mm,
you know what? But I wasn't going to quit because, Midwest work ethic, you can't quit your job. And they laid people off one day. They're walking through. This guy has all these little pink slips, and like the
mm.
whole place freezes. And I'm like, what's happening? Because this is my first job. I don't know. And they're like, oh, they're giving out pink slips. I'm like, what does that mean? Because I mean, they're going to lay people off. I'm like, what does that mean? They're laying them off and you won't have a job. And I'm just like, oh, please let me get a pink slip. Like, please, 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 please let me get a pink slip. And they handed me one. And I was like, oh, the greatest day of my life. And I remember leaving, and a couple of the women I worked with were like in their 40s, and they were crying and they were so upset. And I was like, why would you be upset? This is like working in hell. And as I got older, and then I had a child, and then I was a single mom, I looked back and I thought, oh, I understand. That was their job. That was their insurance. Like I was just like, thank God I'm out of here. I'm never doing this again. And that was like that was their
Mm,
reality. And
yeah.
then I didn't even understand it until after I had a kid. And I thought, gosh, all the things I said to some of those women, like, you should be happy you're out of here. This place is terrible. Why would you want to do this? This is awful. Break free, run away, do anything. And it's like, it's your, like, I didn't even know what a pink slip was. Like, it's like, people aren't exposed to stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm moving out of Ohio and I'm going to go live in Florida because I want warm weather and I don't want to be pushed into another factory job because I'm never doing that again. And, I found my own way. So it is really a lack of exposure for 99% of the
Oh,
people.
yeah.
They just work,
Absolutely.
get their
Yeah.
job, get their 401k, get their retirement and their social security. And that's okay. But there's just such a world out there that they just don't know about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we just we're all born into a culture and into a society, and it frames us from the day that we enter this world. And it just in in my situation, it took it took that dark night of the soul. It was the worst day of my life, which I look back on now as the best day of my life. But
Will you share it
until
with us? Or is it too
uh,
personal?
well, I don't mind sharing it. But anyway, I was 38 years old, and up to that point in time in my life, was doing just exactly what you were describing. One. I was just the most ne'er-do-well person you could imagine, going from dead end job to dead end job, and and having no direction and no passion leading me in my life, and and I thought that was life, and then my wife ended the marriage, and I just thought that was the end of my life and my existence. Well, I went into counseling, and for the first time in my life, I really started an inward journey and started looking inside and started really resolving a whole lot of unresolved issues and found a passion, uh, found that, in fact, I do have innate skills and abilities, and I found that really through counseling. I have the ability to instantly empathize and to instantly connect with people with unconditional positive regard. So I went back to school, got my master's, eventually my PhD, and and it was that moment that led me to my passion. And my passion led me to a career that I loved, and the career gave me my feet on the ground. And with my feet on the ground, I was able to find my way
Yeah.
into real estate investing. So
Amen.
it's that dark night of the soul. And it's not that I wish that on people. It certainly is not something I look back on and go, that was a wonderful experience.
Ah, but you know what? My husband left when I had an 8-month-old child and just took off. All the money, all the car, everything. And I was like, same thing. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But then I thought, you know what? I got a daughter. So in the end, I win and I'm just going to make something happen. So I don't think I ever would have jumped over to this if I hadn't just been
Yeah,
left with no job options. No, I lost my house in foreclosure. My car got repossessed. My credit cards, like it was a disaster. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, how do you come back from that? But then look at us both now,
yeah.
rocking life.
And, I mean, it's just, uh, you know, it, if it hadn't been for that experience, I would still be in that near do well experience here at 74 years old. So I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah,
But,
that's how I feel too.
yeah.
I'm just like, thank you, man. All right, so let's jump topics for a minute. I always like to get to know people, and that story, thank you. Honestly, thank you for sharing that. I know it's really hard for a lot of people to share the moment. I call it personally, I call it my come to Jesus moment, where it's like, okay, my entire life just fell apart 1 hour ago, and now I got
Mhm.
to pick back up, and it's hard because you're scared, you don't know what to do. Is this going to work? Can I try to bring that back? And then you're like, at some point, you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go do something else, which it sounds like we both did, and ended up in a great position. So I really do appreciate you sharing that. I know it's not always easy for people to share their stories, but I share mine all the time. I'm like, listen, I got a baby. I was fired from Denny's on third shift. I mean, if I can do this, I'm telling you, anyone on the face of the earth can do this. There was nothing special about me. I just had a really high desire to not go work for somebody else. So let's sidetrack. Tell me, what is your favorite band of all time?
My favorite band, well, it would be, well, you've probably heard of this, but probably most people in the audience have not. It's the Carpenters, my
The
favorite.
Carpenters.
The
Everyone's heard of the
Carpenters.
Carpenters.
Well, I'm not sure.
Oh, Karen Carpenter and Richard. Oh man, I love the Carpenters. I don't know anyone alive that doesn't love the Carpenters.
She had a voice like silk, didn't
Oh,
she? And it
the
was
best voice.
the
I've
best
watched all the
voice.
shows on her. I've watched all the biographies. I've watched everything.
Yeah.
And so we have grandkids that are 10, 9, 5, and 3. So Bill and I are turning them on to music. And I said, listen, we can really only teach them music from the 60s and the 70s. But after that, there's so much cursing.
Yeah.
So they love the Carpenters. They know the Carpenters, they know like the Beatles, they know just Queen, a lot of really fun music. And I'm like, and my daughter-in-law is like, can you like have them listen to country? I'm like, girl, I don't like country. I'm not listening to country. I'm gonna teach them my music. But I said after the 80s, there's so much cursing. I said, I just don't want them to be singing along and cursing. So they love the Carpenters. And we just bought them some Beatles CDs. Like, oh man, we love the Beatles. I'm like, beautiful voices. The Carpenters are
Yeah.
great. Good for you.
Yes.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite food?
Thai.
Mm,
Thai. Thai curry. Thai curry is my favorite.
I love Thai food too.
Yeah.
My husband's not a huge Thai fan, so we'll go someplace where we have a restaurant. We live in a really tiny mountain. We're at 9,000 feet. Like we're really away from everything. But we do have a restaurant, and the menu is like half Chinese and half Thai. He gets off the thing, but the Thai food is here great. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we live in the mountains and we have Thai food, and we just got a
Yes.
brand new restaurant, Indian food. I'm like, oh my God, 20 years in the mountains, and they finally opened up some restaurants.
Where do you
So
live?
it's called Bailey, Colorado. It's
Bailey?
outside
Okay.
Denver, but like if you're at the Denver airport and you see those mountains way in the
Hmm.
background, we're all the way in those mountains.
You're
So we
all the
live at
way in those.
9,000 feet.
Yeah, I grew up in Durango, so I was the
Oh,
other side of those mountains. Yeah.
Durango is great. I love
Yeah.
Durango. That's one
It's
of
a
the
beautiful
places we
place.
go sometimes and just hang out for a few days and go shopping and go to all the boutiques. And I buy like all these really fun, cool jackets because there's stuff that don't have it anyplace else. I love Durango. That's a great place. I didn't know that. Where do you live
Yeah.
now? Where are you at now?
I'm in North Carolina now, in Appalachia.
I like North Carolina. I like North Carolina. My sister lives there too. So yeah,
Oh,
Durango's a
really?
great city. What's your favorite time of day? Like just throughout, where's your happy spot where you're like, this is it.
I guess around 8 o'clock in the evening. That's when everything is put away, whether I'm finished with it or not. It goes away, and I just get real quiet and
It's funny.
quiet.
I ask, well, I don't always ask. I started just asking these questions just like in the last year or so. And all these people are like, oh, I love the morning. I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm working out. I'm just like, well, like, why? Like, seriously, why would you be up at 4 a.m. working out? What is wrong with you? I am like
I
you. End of the day, winding down, hanging out with my husband. It's like, this is by far the best part of every day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up at 4:30 every morning, but it's not it's not my favorite time of the day. It's just the time to get up and get going.
It
What's
is.
good
No,
about
I
that?
know. I'm an end of the day person too. I really look forward to the end of the day because Bill and I are going to finish our work and we're going to hang out for a while. It's like, this is great. All right. So now, how can my Dwanderful family help you reach whatever your next big goal is?
Well, you're helping me now by inviting me to your podcast, and you can help by, of course, sharing your podcast with your audience. That would just be wonderful.
Maybe all 1 million of my listeners will
Yes,
hear this.
that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just all about, I figure I want to help as many people as I can in my life with their money, their finances, their health, their spirituality, like all of the things, because there's many things that make us who we are. I'm like, if I can help anybody in any of those paths, I always want to be able to do that. So everyone is interested in getting better about your money and learning and some syndication. This is your guy right here. All right, last question. I want you to leave us with a word of wisdom, but only one single word.
One single word: compassion.
Oh, okay. So compassion. So what we do at Dwanderful is I tell everyone when they hear me interview a new guest, take the word, put it on a sticky and put it on the mirror. And then compassion is our word of the week. So we say with compassion, compassion, compassion. So what does that word mean to you?
It just means that that's how the world should operate. We should all have great compassion for ourselves and other humans and every being on the planet.
Amen. I could not agree with you more. I always like to ask what it means to you because compassion can mean different things to different people. So we want to focus on your version of compassion for the week. And I agree, there is just not enough kindness and compassion left in the world anymore. I'm telling you, people have just lost their minds.
Yeah.
It's like I look at the world, I look at the news, I'm like, I don't even I wonder, and I always think like my grandkids, when they get to be 40 and they look back on this exact time period with all the just, all the stuff, it's like, what are they gonna look back and think like we were a bunch of crazy people? Or are they gonna be like, oh yeah, that was a good time in society? And I'm thinking, I feel like this particular point with like the boys and the women's sports and not to get political, all that stuff, I'm like, I'm hoping people look back and go, what the hell was wrong with everybody? Like it's just the world's gone crazy. I've got all these little grandkids. I'm like, I just want to keep you living in the mountains for life in this little hole right here. Or maybe it can protect you from the big bad wolf that's outside right now. So, all
Yeah.
right, Alan, I want to thank you, Dr. Alan. I'm so sorry. I want to thank you so much for being on my podcast today. You guys, if you're listening, go to dwanderful.com and take my real estate investing quiz. I think you'll find it to be quite interesting. And don't forget to subscribe, give a 5-star review, write a message about how amazing it was, and share with your friends. I can't grow to 2 million without you. So thank you guys for listening. Dr. Allen, I appreciate you so much being on here. And everyone will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. Goodbye, everybody. Ah. I'm glad you stuck around. I almost forgot to tell you, in addition to having this super educational podcast, I am now able to work with you one-on-one. In fact, I'm offering a 3-deal guarantee. So let me hold your hand, and I guarantee you that you will close 3 deals. You have nothing to lose and your entire life to gain. Talk to you next week.